Hey nerds, what's up? Today's video is going to be my January wrap-up. First wrap-up of 2021. So, I'm going to try to keep up with telling you some stats because I really like looking at these stats, and so it's nice for me to have a place to go look at them. Is the spreadsheet that I'm using to keep up with my reading stats. And this first one is the monthly stats, and then this one is the yearly stats. This is from Addie from Hardback Hoarder. It's her page or her stat sheet, so I'll leave that in the description box or in another card up above if you're interested in using hers. But it comes with all of these with the exception of owned a library. I took that one from an old one and added it in. Okay, so let's look at yearly stats first. Obviously, it's only January so far, so it's only January's stats as well. But I'm already at 15% of my reading goal for the year. I always set my reading goal at 52 because there's 52 weeks in a year, so I want to at least average one book a week. But this month, I've read 2,986 pages. I have bought 4 books. I checked out 2 books from the library, which is actually, I checked out more than that. I just didn't update that page. And I read 8 books in January. Total books that I own, I've read 233 out of 427. So I have 54% of my books read, which, yeah, sounds about right. Average days to finish a book right now is 9 days, and woohoo, I want to make that faster. So far, here's my ratings set. Obviously, again, this is only January, so when I include this page in the future, it'll be all of the months combined. And right now, my average rating is 4.14. Publication years, I am going back a little bit, but definitely 2019 and 2020 were the most. Here's my genres, mostly fantasy for sure. This is pretty standard for me, about 50% like fantasy sci-fi, and then I do always have a decent set of contemporary in there too. Subgenre, I'm still messing around with and not deciding completely yet. And then the author stats, I also I'm not going to do all of the research to find out about all of this, but if I do know any information, I am including it. So clearly I'm reading a lot of white, and I would love for that to be less. But I do like this mostly being female authors. I am a fan of that. 50% series versus standalones, library books. I've read 50% of what I've taken out from the library, but to be fair, some of the books that I currently have out are for February. And then I've only read traditional publishing as of right now. Here's my library. I don't know why this says scribd. I think that might be a mistake on the part of what's counting in this page. But I'm not sure. Own voices versus non-own voices. Again, I'm only putting own voices if I definitely know for sure that it is. So that percentage could be higher than what this is saying. And then middle grade, adult, new adult, loving that. And ebook, only 25%. Ebook doesn't matter to me that much. But let's move into monthly stats. So this page, we're only paying attention to this section here. So coming up to the start, again, I read 8 books. Here's the page count. The hours listened also is off because I didn't put that in. I don't know what's happening. But I bought 4 books. I had 2 books out from the library. Average rating, it's all the same information from the yearly page because, like I said, eventually the yearly stats will have all of the months combined. And again, genres. Format, I listened to 2 audiobooks versus 6 physical, and then I read 3 adult, 1 middle grade, 2 new adult, and 2 young adult. And I use new adult genre or audience as an age range, not as that specific category of what sometimes people use as new adult. I just use it as an age category. And then again, identity of author, race of author. I've read 4 of the authors before and 4 new to me authors, so I kind of like that, knowing that. And then here are my ratings. 2 5 stars, 1 4.5, 2 4 stars, 1 3.5, 1 3, and 1 DNF. So because of that, that's where they get the average rating, which was a 4.14. So I'm really happy with that. All right, so those are my stats for the month, and let's get back to I read 8 books in the month of January. I did participate in one readathon. I had my first Best Books Club video meeting. Did a lot of stuff. So I have some things. I have a DNF to show you. I have some multiple 5-star reads to show you. So let's get right on into this. Starting off with the DNF because I want to go from worst to best in the videos this year. I think that I like that the best for the way that I format these. So first off, the DNF. I decided I'm DNFing House of Leaves. I'm really sad because I bought this book. It was not cheap. I mean, it was like $22, but still, like, this is a big one. And I got this far into it, so like almost halfway, and just, I don't like it. For everyone, why is my battery already dying? For everybody that's been talking about, like, for how much I've heard that this book is so scary and everything, like, but why is it scary? Like, it didn't seem that scary to me. It felt like a little bit pretentious from the author, like, you really put this together and made a bunch of fake footnotes for me to read. It wasn't so much because, like, there are other formatted books with footnotes that I do like. Like, for example, Nevernight, which I know is a controversial option because some people just, like, skip the footnotes or don't read them. The footnotes do add a lot of, like, context, and they add a lot of world building in there. And so some people would say, yeah, it doesn't need to be in a footnote. Like, why not just put it into the story better? Like, I get that argument too. But it gave me something. Whereas in this book, like, half of the footnotes are literally just fiction. You don't need to read them because it's playing on the idea that this is a work of nonfiction, but it's not. And so it's like giving you a bunch of actual resources, like what a footnote is supposed to be. Like, on page 125 of this book that this woman wrote about these characters, about these people. But, like, that doesn't exist. I can't actually go look at it if I wanted to. And I wouldn't go and look at that footnote for anything other than if I wanted the proof of the quote that's in the book that doesn't really exist. So much work for no reason. There are footnotes in this book that also are part of the story, much like Nevernight, because you're following the story that's in the main novel is this Navidson record, which is about the House of Leaves, where it's bigger on the inside than on the outside. And then the footnotes is about this guy named Johnny Truant who's found all of these records and is going through them, and he's, like, spiraling into a problem himself in, like, the real world. I didn't care, and I hated reading Johnny Truant's sections because I didn't care enough about him to care that he is spiraling into this terrifying place, like, for himself. Like, very worried, very concerned. But I don't care about you, and you're also kind of a piece of shit, and you keep talking about women as if they're objects, and, like, I don't want you to survive. I don't want you to be fine. I'm not worried about you. I kind of want to punch you in the face. So what? I don't care. So we're getting rid of it. I'm getting rid of it. I don't want to read it. I am going to watch the live show that Julie is doing on her channel, which I think when this video comes out, it'll be on the same day, I think, or it'll have been the day before. So I am planning on watching that, either live or watching it back if I can't make it live. But, like, I'm interested in hearing what other people think about this book because it is so popular. But, like, I just don't care to take the time to use my eyeballs to read that book. We're done. Okay, moving on to a 2.5, 3-star read, which was The Book of Awesome Women. Boundary Breakers, Freedom Fighters, Sheroes, and Female First by Becca Anderson. Okay, so, oops. So this book is a nonfiction, and it basically is a whole set of little informational pieces about various women who have done a bunch of cool shit, which is great. Like, this one is Yolanda King and Atala Shabazz, who are the daughters of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. So, yes, it had a bunch of information that I was very interested in, and, like, it was fine. I wish that it had been, it sucks because, like, that, what I'm about to say means that there would be less women in it, but, like, I wish they had been shorter. I just didn't feel like I needed this long of a book of this nonfiction stuff, or maybe I shouldn't have read it all in one go. But the reason that I really only gave it 2.5 to 3 stars is more so because of the way Becca Anderson wrote it. So first of all, it didn't feel like the formatting was consistent. Like, in some people, they spoke about it. I don't even know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but, like, I just didn't like the way that she introduced the different sections. So, like, there's a section about, like, athleticism, like, people like, athletes. There's a section on, like, musicians. There's a section on, like, freedom fighters, and anyways, I didn't like it. And then I also hated that she used the word shero. It just sounds so dumb. And there's another word that is the same thing, and it's heroin. So why did we need to make up a new word for female hero when we already have a word for female hero? And why not just use the word hero? I don't get it. Okay, moving on. I have Lumberjanes Volume 1. This I read for Rent-a-thon. I read it for the bisexual representation, which, as I said in the vlog, there's not any guarantee that this is bisexual, but there is a sapphic relationship in it. This is a middle grade story, which I also didn't know going into it, about these set of, as far as I know, they're all girls. They are at a camp for girls, but I'm not sure if anybody identifies as, like, non-binary or anything. But we follow this set of campmates, cabin mates, who go on a bunch of adventures and find, like, fantastical creatures while they're at camp, and get into trouble and such. And it was cute. I definitely thought it was, like, a good middle grade, but for me, I obviously didn't love it. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads just because, like, it's not fair for me to rate it super low when the reason I didn't really attach myself to it is because it's not for me. I'm 27. So, like, for my own enjoyment, I'd probably give it, like, a 2.5, 3. But in total and in general, I think it was a solid 4-star book. It's very cute. 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. This was the first book I finished in the year of 2021. This is a book about a girl whose boyfriend breaks up with her right before she goes to her family's, like, visit. She goes and stays with a bunch of cousins at her grandma's house. And so while she's there on Christmas night, she, like, explains what happened because she, like, got there and was, like, sobbing. And then they decide to, like, play a game while she's there between Christmas and New Year's where she has to go on a blind date for the 10 days. It was so cute. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I did really like how they dealt with, like, her feelings towards the ex and, like, kind of the feeling of, like, what if this is a mistake and what if we need to get back together and stuff, while also dealing with, like, an old kindling of a relationship from, like, a friend to lover. I love that. Yeah, it was really nice to read, like, around the holidays. I read this around the same time that this book was taking place, like, between the Christmas and the New Year holiday. I think I finished it right after the New Year because I finished it in the New Year. But, yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. And if you're still wanting some holiday mood, or if you want to hold off until next holiday, I do recommend this one. It's young adult. It is young adult. They're seniors in high school. Okay. I also have Archie Volume 2. This is another graphic novel that I read for Rent-a-thon, and this book is following the same like Archie comics. This is their new set, so if you know anything about the Archie comics, you know the things. I have a hard time rating these because one of the main characters, Veronica, I like hate her. And I don't think you're supposed to hate her, but she just... Are you supposed to hate her? Because I can't stand her. She's so just self-absorbed. I cannot. There's like no learning curve yet, at least, and I just... no. But simultaneously, I really love Betty and Archie. I love the angst. I love a lot. And this one didn't have Jughead really in it, but I also love him. And yeah, I like this story a lot. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars because I can't give it a full 5 if I freaking hate one of our main characters. But like, are you supposed to hate her really though? Tell me. Tell me in the comments. Are you supposed to hate Veronica? Because I don't like her. The next book that I want to talk about is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer Allen Orange. Okay, so I have also like pretty mixed feelings about this. I'm like second guessing why I put it so high up on my list, but also I did really enjoy it. So I listened to this on audiobook. This book is about a girl named Poppy who is the maiden in this like fantasy realm, which basically means that she's not allowed to like be touched or talked to or anything by anyone who isn't worthy. And she's also has to be a virgin. This is a new adult fantasy romance. And so we follow Poppy, who's like dealing with the fact that one, she doesn't really like want to be the maiden because it's very lonely. And then also there's like some other stuff going on. There's like abuse and things like that in here. Her parents died when she was young, so she's like got trauma. But then all at the same time we meet Hawk, who is her new guard. And there's romance, smutty romance. And I feel like I need to have an entire spoiler-full conversation on this book because it is so complicated how I feel, but I can't talk about it without spoiling the book. So, yeah. If you've read it, let me know. And if you haven't read it, I do recommend it, but I just please like be aware that there is like sexual assault and like lack of consent and lots of betrayal, abuse like I mentioned. So there are a lot of trigger warnings in it. And I guess I think that I feel like this book has not been discussed in our community, but also has not really been catered. Like, no one was talking about the sexual assault that happens in this book till I watched Aries Libraries talking about it in her spoiler full review. So if you already have read it, I really suggest go watching her video because I feel like she did a really good job like discussing all of the issues in this book that even I had realized some of it, but just not all of it. And like, why is no one talking about that? I don't know. So I don't know how... I did really enjoy this book. Like, I flew through it. The sex stuff is great. I had a grand old time. But I also, in certain scenes, definitely felt like there was a lack of consent involved. And I did feel like icky reading some of it. But then, like, nobody was talking about it, so it almost felt like I was seeing things that weren't there until I watched Aries Libraries video. What? I don't know. Talk about, like, our lack of ability to recognize sexual assault because we've been so socially told that it doesn't exist unless it happens a certain way. Wow. Even happens in a book. Great. Okay. Anyways, I did really like it. I will read another one, the next one, but go into it with the knowledge of that, I suppose. Okay, moving into my last two books. I honestly don't know which one to talk about first because I loved them both absolutely. Like, they are both 5-star reads. I have much to say, but I'm going to start with the one I read first, which was Kingdom of Copper. This is the sequel to City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. It was so good. I cannot wait to read the third one. So I can't really talk about this book because it's a sequel. There are spoilers, but this book follows a girl named Nari. Well, the first one follows a book named... The first book follows a girl named Nari who is living in like 18th century Cairo, and she has magical healing powers, but she doesn't really believe like that she has magic. She just thinks she's really good at conning people, and then she accidentally summons a djinn or a genie one night, and the djinn goes, you're not human, let me take you to the City of Brass because that's where you belong, meaning that she has magic. So then it's part like adventure story of them getting to the City of Brass, and also part like super political conversations because we also follow the prince of the king named Ali, and he's not the next in line, but he also doesn't necessarily agree with everything that his father and his brother are doing with the city, in the city, and there's a lot of like questions of like equality and things like that within the djinn world. So this one was great. I really liked it. It continued the story really well and ended in a cliffhanger. Okay, I don't know what, I can't say anything else. It was great. I really liked it. I hope you read the series, and if you've already read it, talk to me because I need to talk about this and I need to read the next one and I'm freaking out. Okay, last book that I read this month. You all know where I'm going if you've been paying attention at all this month to my channel, but I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This was the Best Books Club choice for January, so I do have an entire recorded discussion with Paula from Fandom and Books. We do a Best Books Club video on Zoom every third weekend. So our next book is going to be Mexican Gothic, and that one is going to be on February 20th at 2 p.m. PST. All the information for the Zoom ID and everything to join us on February 20th is linked down below for Mexican Gothic. But yes, if you also want to watch the discussion between me and Paula, I'll link that up above. Yes, 5 out of 5 stars. Favorite V.E. Schwab that I've yet to read. I fell in love with this book really fast. There's definitely a lot of discussion to be had about how V.E. Schwab handled like race, ethnicity, and the going of time between 1691 and 2014. I feel like Cindy's discussion of this was really, really good, so I'll link that up above as well if you're interested. So I don't know enough, and it's not like I can see all of the sides, but it's not I am white. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So anyways, I did really like this book. It's like I want more of the story, like I want more, but at the same time it was so perfectly like finished and complete and just like this that I don't want anybody to touch it. So this book follows a girl named Addie LaRue who in 1691 in France, she is betrothed and it's her wedding day, and she really does not want to get married because she feels like if she gets married then she'll never like do anything ever again. She'll just live and die in this small town and see nothing and just have kids even though she doesn't want them and all this stuff. So she starts praying, and a god comes to her prayer and offers her a bargain, and she takes it, which gives her long-lasting life. She never dies, she never ages, but everyone will forget who she is the second that she leaves their presence. So if they walk out of the room or fall asleep or something like that, then they'll instantly forget her. So she's going through this very, very lonely life until in 2014 she happens upon a man who remembers her. And so things happen there too. So we have one section of the book is little snippets of her life throughout time that's coming up to present day. and well, present day 2014. And then the other part of the book is her in 2014 up until she meets the man who remembers her, and after, and like figuring out why. The character that is the devil is so fascinating. I loved the relationship between him and Addie. I feel like it was a great metaphor for emotionally controlling abuse, which is not healthy. So I don't mean that I loved it as in like, I want them to be together. I mean, I loved it as in like, wow, how eye-opening, I guess. That's what I saw out of that connection between Luke and Addie. It was so good. I really loved it. I don't even really know what else to say about it. Like, it was so good. Please watch the Best Books Club if you're interested in hearing like everything, but I'm gonna stop. Okay, those are all of the books that I read in January. I loved a lot of them, and I didn't like some of them, and it was a mixed bag. So yeah, I'm really excited for February. I'm having a minute, like the last few days. It's only February 4th, but the last few days I have not been reading a whole lot. I'm still currently reading The Vanishing Half. I'm about halfway through, and like I really, really want to finish this like as soon as possible because I am really liking it, and I also just have like so many books I want to read in the shortest month of the year. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. And I really want to start the video that I have been hinting at in the last 2 videos. So anyways, that's everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I make videos every Saturday and Monday, so I'll see you guys soon with a new one. And that's everything. Peace out. Bye.